Good morning, or grand rising, whatever your thing is that you say. But this is episode 5 of Chaos and Culture.
Yes,
And
good morning. Good morning.
see, I got Robyn back with me, aka at Earthy Hood Joint on Instagram. And this conversation we're having today was one we always have conversations about stuff before we decide we're going to take it public. You know what I mean? But this conversation today is about relationships that are emotionally intimate but non-sexual. And the name of this episode is the Miss Jones effect of emotional intimacy. So why we call it that? Well, one, this was inspired by a very recent episode of the Drink Champs podcast with Nori and DJ EFN, and their guest was Miss Jones. So
Infamous.
some of you may, the infamous Miss Jones, you know, like there's Wendy Williams and there's Miss Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while Wendy Williams has gone on to, reach national acclaim and she's a household name, if you listen to morning radio at any point during the early 2000s, especially, and you lived in Philly or New York City, and you were listening to morning radio on the hip hop stations in particular. Tri-state area, or the tri-state area or the Philly area, because you was also picking up Power 99 in Jersey as well, across the river. But Miss Jones, and again, she was just as straight shooting, controversial, provocative as Wendy Williams. She was around in that Star and Buck Wild era. She was on their show. She was a co-host on their show at one point, when they were all over at Hot 97. So just to give you some background on her real quick. Also, if you don't know her from radio, you may remember her.
Ron G mixtapes. She was all over it early.
Well, again, that's a very New York thing. But if you know AZ Sugar Hill, she sang the hook on Sugar Hill. That's the most broad reference I can give to people who might not have heard her on the radio, didn't grow up in New York City or none of that. You know what I mean? Because that's where I first learned of her, hearing her on the hook of AZ Sugar Hill record back in the day. So nonetheless, she was on the podcast. Had a great conversation. She talked a lot about her career, come up, her life story and whatnot. But of all the things she mentioned, she brought up something that very, 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 very few people knew. In fact, I think Nori was probably the only other person outside of the Miss Jones and this other.
He didn't know.
He said he noticed what was going on.
Yeah, but he didn't know about the bomb that she dropped.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get to that part. But in terms of just the emotional connection without the sex, that relationship that these two individuals had, Miss Jones and the person we about to say, he probably was the only person that knew about it, maybe a couple other people. Anyway, she revealed that she and Big Pun were, they had a very emotionally intimate connection, but there was no physical intimacy. They never kissed.
I'm gonna say that was her love story.
Her love story. She was in love with him. He was in love with her. This was during the time, of course, we all know he was married at the time. If you've heard other podcasts, perhaps with his widow, his wife, she talked about the trials and tribulations that they had. We know also Pun was a Rolling Stone. He was out here like any other rapper, that was getting money and had success or whatever. But as far as an emotional connection, that was something that he and Miss Jones had. And again, she emphasized, like, they never had sex. They never even kissed. They were just,
like at the end of the night, he probably gave her a kiss, but it wasn't what normal people would do.
Well, I ain't going to assume that. I'm going to go based off what she said. I'm going to say it was strictly emotional. Nonetheless, that was one part of the bomb. The follow-up bomb was when she stated,
"What did I text you?
What'd you text me?
When I found out the bomb, what did I text you?
Oh, WTF. You text me WTF. But the other part of the bomb that she dropped was that he put her on his publishing. And she was receiving royalty checks. To this day, actually, she's still receiving. So every time you hear, I don't want to be a player no more, think about Miss Jones. Because I sure am. So
I think I'm in love. Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna play a quick clip from that portion of the podcast. So I always get a little leery when I do this screen share, but I got it queued up already. We're gonna share the screen. Let's see. Y'all gonna see my entire computer screen. Let's see. All right, here we go. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, let me know if you can hear it.
Okay. No, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear it?
No, I can't hear it.
Okay. Well, if y'all go to this episode of Drink Champs with Miss Jones, you go to about 2 hours and 33 seconds and listen for that couple of minutes. I'm gonna have to practice and figure out how to get the sound to play from these clips because I've seen people do it. But anyway, if you play that portion, you will hear her say that if you want to hear the whole portion, start about like 2 hours and 28 minutes and listen for about a good 10 plus minutes, about 2 hours and 41 minutes. You'll hear the whole thing. But I encourage y'all to watch the whole thing, the whole entire interview. But nonetheless,
she was dropping some.
She was dropping some dope, some really knowledge, some good gems. You know what I mean? Especially for anybody who ever had aspirations within media, and entertainment. And she spoke her truth. She talked. So, but we didn't come here to talk about the entire interview. We actually came here to talk about emotional intimacy because there was something in that portion of the interview that Nori said. He had to backtrack. I don't know if he was joking or not, but he was like, yeah, y'all young dudes need to get on this. You know what I mean? And then he's like, oh, I don't know if I should be promoting that or whatnot. And I know you and I, Robyn, we were talking like, damn, how many people are actually out here? Well, before we get to that part, one, we were both surprised that did not hit the gossip blogs.
Everything else hit the gossip blog. How she didn't get along with Mary J. Blige, how the whole Moni Love, Tupac talk happened, when DJ Effin hit up Moni, like, I got Jonesy in the building. It was like, wrong number. All of these things hit the blog. But the real bomb that didn't hit the blog was she had an emotional connection with this man. He trusted her.
Emotional, non-sexual
connection with him. One, he trusted her. One, if he was in town, he made sure that he went to her house every night. Mind you, this man was married. But he made it his business to make sure that she was all right. And before he left this earth, he put her in a position to make sure that she was all right. That's right. The bag. And that's the real bag.
What you drinking today? I forgot to ask you what you drinking.
So my boo bought me some fruits. So I made some smoothies. So this one is banana. Can you see it? Oh yes, banana, dragon fruit, plums, coconut water, and sea moss.
Yeah. Okay, you got your whole island on there.
My whole tropical fruit island thing is going on right here. Thank you.
All right. Okay. I'm just drinking my caffeine. That's what I'm drinking. Nothing special. But yeah, so I found that very alarming because if I were a gossip blogger, that would be the first story. Right. It's like, what? Especially the part about the publishing. So then the second part to that was we talked about, well, how many people are actually in these same type of relationships? You know what I mean? That whether or not, this is some side relationship or this is like everybody single, but there's somebody in your life that there is a deep emotional intimacy there, but there's no sex, there's no physical interactions beyond maybe like a hug or something. You know what I mean? How many people have that going on? And I pose that question because, in this society, you know, having that type of connection without sex, it's like we put sex above everything. You know what I mean? And to have an emotional, non-sexual relationship is like, what, with y'all friends or something? Like, what is it? And I think perhaps that's probably why it didn't make the blogs either, because it was a non-physical, non-sexual relationship, and that's not juicy enough to put out there. And also, too, again, a lot of people don't know who Miss Jones is. You know what I mean? Like, if Miss Jones had been Wendy Williams in this relationship with with Big Pun, then yeah, that probably. But a lot of people don't know who Miss Jones is. You know what I mean?
But
so I think that's another reason why.
So you think that the reason you think the reason a lot of people didn't put that in is because a lot of people don't know who Miss Jones is?
I think that mostly, because I'm telling you, if this had been a celebrity woman that was much more well known than Miss Jones, I'm pretty sure it would have made the blogs. And then number two, again, because there was no sex, sex sells. There was no sex, and granted, people can expect
sex right now. I'm selling sex right. It's selling. Yes,
but and people will probably speculate if it had even made the people probably speculate, oh, she lying, da 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 da. That's that in the third, because to make the story more provocative and juicier. But I think those two reasons are why I didn't make the blogs. But again, going back to the whole premise of an emotionally intimate relationship without sex. I've actually been in a couple of those. And people laugh. I won't say people necessarily laugh. Let me not say that. But people were saying, you're selling yourself short. Why are you doing that to yourself? And it's just like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not even, I didn't look at it necessarily as me doing it to myself in a harmful way, but I felt comfortable in the same way this person felt comfortable opening up to me, opening up with each other in a way that we couldn't necessarily open up with, people we might have been involved with sexually. You know what I mean? So I never had women on the side, it's either I'm with you or I'm not. Like, that's not my thing. I tried the whole multiple women at once thing while being in a relationship. It's not my thing. But yeah, that's how I saw it. You know what I mean? And for me, if, I'm a conversationalist. I was a conversationalist before I even knew I was one. And so, I've always been very good at making people feel comfortable, opening up, and trusting that I'm not going to, air their business out to the world and things like that. But for me, I've been in those. I've been in a couple of them. You know what I mean? I may be in another one later on in life. Who knows? But it's not something that I'm opposed to.
So these relationships that were non-sexual, do you find that they were better off for you if y'all did go into a relationship? Or are y'all still friends till today?
So the two that I have in mind, neither I'm friends with them to this day. One person is because that was my fault. And the second person, she was really despite it being an emotionally intimate only type of thing, she was very unsure of her sexuality and questioned it too much, and was very concerned about what the general public and her peers thought about her, even though, we weren't having sex. You know what I mean? But so it kind of, we just went our separate ways. You know what I mean? So no, I'm not friends with either one of those women anymore.
Okay. All right. So for me, I think I've had a lot of these relationships and just didn't realize these are the type of relationships that I was having. But like you said, 2 of them come to mind, and none of these people are here right now. Like they just not. And it was my fault that we were on bad terms. It was over bullshit. Literally over bullshit. Like, I can't even take none of that shit back, but it was bullshit. But I will say that throughout the years, I remained friends with both of these men. And I believe that had they still been here, we would have still been friends. I think these relationships, you really get to know who you are as a person as much as you get to know the other person.
Absolutely.
I think when you have these type of relationships where it's non-sexual, it's really nothing getting in the way of who you are and who that person is, yet it be a man or a woman. You are your most vulnerable. You are your most authentic self. And I think a lot of us don't want to do that. We don't want to be our authentic selves, and we don't want to be that vulnerable with anyone. So it's like, sex is easy. I'm gonna say it. If I just wanted to do it, or I just felt like this situation was not gonna work out how I saw it in my head, I was the aggressor in the situation. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get this done and over with. Like, if we continue to have sex, we continue to have sex, but I'm not taking him seriously. Like, it's not. I'm being very aggressive in the situation. I'm only seeing him when I want to see him. Like, so when it's sex involved and it's that type of mentality, you won't be able to be your authentic self with another individual, and you won't be vulnerable with that person because it's not from a true place. It's just from a place of hurt and pain. And one of the things that Jones said in that interview was that he was in a lot of pain. He had a lot of issues. He had a lot of trauma that he was dealing with, and he was trying to overcome. And she was his confidant. Like, she was his therapist. She was his friend. She was his confidant. Like, she gave him something. Once again, he was his authentic self, and he was vulnerable with her. And believe it or not, men need that. I know women be like, oh, they don't show no feelings and emotions because, let's be honest, he just don't feel comfortable with you. He ain't feel comfortable with you. Like, I had a man tell me one time, like, I really wish I could tell you everything that's going on in my mind. And at that time, I was like, just talk about it. But now, he didn't feel comfortable enough to let me know that. And I have to respect that. And I respect him now because I understand. I respect what he was saying. He didn't trust me enough. He didn't feel that he could be his authentic self. And when you're in a relationship with anybody, any type of relationship, you should always want to be your authentic self. You want to be like that. You should always want to be, especially when y'all having, especially if it's sexual. I know, like, it's easy to have sex. It's easy to have sex. But communicating, being vulnerable, and being your authentic self, it's like that shit went out the window. It's like, nah, I can't do that with nobody. But that's what we have to do. Like, I'm truly learning how to do that right now. Truly learning how to do that. And it ain't easy.
So, speaking about the vulnerability part, one thing that Ms. Jones mentioned in the interview was that he was discussing the pain that he had been in for so many years, discussing that with her, from the relationship that he was in the process of working through and healing with his mother, which, because he passed so early, he wasn't able to
mend it,
find resolve in that, as well as, you know, what led to the weight gain.
Yeah, I mean,
and even when she talked about how, you know, one time or whenever she would do barbecues at her house, and he would come through and be other people there that they all knew in the industry or whatnot, and he would say to her to put his plate to the side because he knew that people would be watching him eat, you know, and it that was a place of discomfort for him, and so she was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, I put it to the side, you know what I mean, who was I to judge, you know what I mean? So there are
so genuine. Like, I feel like I don't know, something just came over me. Like, I feel like he was himself, and it's like no other way to describe it. Like, just something came, like when you was just describing that whole thing, like something just came over me. Like he just felt like he could be himself with her. And I think that we all need to experience that at least with one person, even if it's just yourself.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I don't know what necessarily blocks people from feeling like they can do that. I don't know if it's just life experience or what. Probably is.
Rejection. Rejection. Rejection is one. Also, telling somebody your most innermost secrets or flaws or just things about you that you may not like. Just having them throw that back in your face later on in the relationship. Like, oh yeah, remember when you did, like, when you told me this, like, you suck a ass for this, like, or like, you're gonna be a hoe. Like, it's just, you don't want to be that vulnerable with somebody and then they throw that shit in your face or they use it against you. Like, and I think that's what keeps us from doing it.
Okay. One thing she also talked about was the relationship that men have with their mothers and how that shows up. And I know this is one of your favorite things to talk about. You talk about this often. And I mean, vice versa, the relationship that women have with their fathers and how that shows up in relationships. And, I can speak wholeheartedly about how the relationship that I've had with my mother over the years played a major part in the women that I chose to date, the women that I went after, and it was until I realized what was going on when I went on my whole, person hiatus,
the sabbatical,
that I was able to correct it. I was like, okay, all right, because my mother, I was always in a state of trying to get my mother's approval because she was so harsh and because she was could be very domineering and all these different things. I went for those types of women. My mother wasn't a Keisha, but Keishas have these personality traits. They're domineering. They're very self-centered and self-absorbed.
Please explain what a Keisha is, because
people know what a Keisha is.
Because I don't want the Keishas coming for us.
I mean, Keishas know who they are, and they look. If you are a Keisha, you stand firm in that. Stand firm in that, because there is a man out there, a woman out there for you. They will give you whatever it is that you're looking for, even if all that is spending money on you and making sure that you look good and you are living the high life. All right.
Yes.
And what else was? Oh, and my mother, she could be quick to pop off and things like that, and so I went for these types of women, not realizing that also the way in what they responded to positively, I couldn't give them that, because they responded to negative to negativity. I'm not going to be jumping up and down. I'm not going to be hooping and hollering. I'm not going to put my hands on you.
Like, it's not.
Yeah, that's not me. You know what I mean? In the spirit of Obatala.
That is not true.
That's not me. You know what I mean? Like,
but not like Keisha.
Right. You know, like the part of the where say, you know, Shango resonates in me is not necessarily in that thunderous way where I'm like, what? Like I can't do that. You know, Shango resonates in me differently. You know, being charismatic and being sociable and personable and being out here, you know, and being in the mix and doing my thing. You know what I mean? But you know, I can't get the thunderous side of him. You know that you got to go to somebody else for that. You know what I mean? I'm a sit there and be like.
It's not having it.
Do you see how you are acting right now? You know what? I'm going to step away. And because even when they would get me off my square, I felt stupid. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, why? What are we even arguing about? Why are you being? Why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. You are being completely irrational because you want to be a baby. You know. But once I realized that was happening, I was like, oh, no. So no more Keishas. No more Keishas. I'm done. I don't deal with Keishas anymore. If you are a Keisha, we can have a conversation, but the buck stops there. I cannot take your phone number. You cannot have not mine. I will not take you out on a date. Do not collect $200 or pass go with me. The end. So, you know, but she brought that up. Ms. Jones brought that, circling back around to that. Ms. Jones brought that up, and I think even perhaps that plays a big role as into why people, maybe sex, even though when you are naked, you are in a very vulnerable state because people are seeing all your physical whatever. And if you don't have this bomb physique, it's like, well, we're going to see what happens. They're either going to like it or they're not. You know what I mean?
Another thing for women. We are very body conscious. I know.
So are men. Men might not. Men don't talk about it, but look, men are body conscious too. But because it's taboo for men to talk about, look, what I talk about all the time, like when I get a 6-pack, you ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. Like I've been working out, the rest of my body is doing its thing, but the stomach, I got the
on over there.
What you say?
So you got the Will Smith going on over there.
Yeah, man, I'm working on it. You know what I mean? It's gonna go away. It's gonna go away. But yeah, men are very body conscious. You know what I mean?
So now I know, and thank you for that information because I know as a woman, if I walk around a man naked or just in my bra and panty, that means that one, I'm being very vulnerable because I'm showing you my body.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I may post pictures and all that shit, but to see me like naked, or just walking around the house like that in front of you, yeah, that means that I'm being myself because that's how I am in my house when I'm with myself. So if I could do that with you, then I know that I'm being myself and that you are allowing me to be myself.
Yes.
And when a woman can do that, that says a lot. Because we don't, I know most women when they home by themselves or in the house with their kids, most of us are naked. But when a man comes over, especially if it's not like your family member, like, I'm not going to be in here naked. I'm literally going to be covered up. I'm covered up. I'm not going to be in here naked unless I know, like, oh, I could be myself around him. Even sometimes with my uncles or brothers, I'm not in the house I'm covered up. So if I'm around a man that I'm interested in or dealing with and I'm like that, then yeah, I'm being myself.
Right. So with sex, we take our clothes off. Well, most people do. Some people, they be super grown, still having shirts on and shit. I'm like, what? What? How old are you? But you know, I think despite that, sex is easier to lead with sex and have that up as a wall, as a barrier. Whereas, you know, that's only like one. I guess that's one type of reject. If somebody's going to reject you, because it's kind of like, well, you kind of saw what I looked like even with clothes on. You know what I mean? But you don't know what's in my mind and my heart unless I tell you. You don't know what I've been through unless I tell you. You know what I mean? And so I can show up as this representative and giving you the best parts of my life, but what if this person judges me because, I've gone through XYZ? Or even, you could have, there's something about you that's ultimately positive, but this person, because of where they are in their lives or how they navigate the world, they're like, oh, nah, that's whack. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like when it comes to me and African spirituality, you know what I mean? I tell people I'm an Ifa devotee, right? And so if a woman has a problem with that, then for me, I'm like, well, great. I know up front, like this isn't going to work. You know what I mean? Like, we don't even need to continue on with the conversation because you have your preconceived notions of what African spirituality consists of, and things like that. And that's cool. I'm not even going to, I'm not here to convince you to come on my side or get on board. And I'm one thing's for sure, two things for certain. People who practice African spiritual traditions are not trying to convince you to stop doing whatever it is you're doing. But we respect you in the same way we want you to respect what we do. You know what I mean? But if you're interested, we here. But yeah, so ultimately that's a beautiful thing. That's a positive thing. But because of how she views what that is, she might not be down with it. But I've reached a point where, and that's the thing. How do you feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself to stand in your truth? To know, like, look, this is what it is. Good, bad, and different. Good, bad, ugly. Take it or leave it. To not even want to argue with somebody or want to hide part. And not saying, give your whole life story the first time y'all talk. But how confident are you in yourself? So that's another part. And like that came up, like, okay, boom. Put my plate to the side because I'm this size, and I know everybody's like, oh, let's see how much he be eating. You know what I mean? And because we think the way we think about obese people, about fat people. You know what I mean? Whether we mean to or not, it's conditioning. But at the same time, you got people who are obese and they like, look, I'm fucking fat. Y'all know that? Y'all see it? So the fuck what?
Well, I say that sometimes about this back fat, right? Because I'm like, as soon as I could get it done, I'm gonna get it done. Like, I done worked on it, I done did all of that, and I'm still not comfortable with my back fat. But if I'm around you and all this back fat is out, yes, just know I'm comfortable and I'm being myself. When you just said be comfortable in knowing who you are, I don't think a lot of us want to look into who we are. I know at one point I didn't. That was hard for me. Like I was telling you recently, like I would either work myself to death, club myself to death, or just be making myself busy. Like just so that I didn't have to deal with myself. And I remember when I started the process of dealing with myself, I used to shun that shit off like, oh nah, I ain't doing this. Like this is too much. But when I actually, like 2013, 2014, when I really had to I'm going to say it was way before then, like 2012, when I really had to deal with Robyn. And that was like one of the hardest things for me. Because when you start seeing your behaviors, some of the things that you've carried on from God knows how long you've been carrying this, it's like, ew, I don't like this person. So now it's like, how do I want somebody to like me if I don't like me? So that's when you have to start working on yourself. And I think for him, he had somebody to do that with. Like I said, she was kind of close to being his therapist. She just wasn't, she wasn't licensed to have that job, but she was sitting there with him, listening to him and not judging him. And one of the things that I've learned is not to judge people. Because when you judge people, it's like you're judging yourself. So if I'm judging you for your bad behavior, like when I start judging people for things that they're doing or I feel a way about them, that's the first thing I ask myself is, why you feel like that? What inside of you is making you feel like you have to feel that way about a person? Because when you don't like something about somebody, that's just a reflection of who you are. Like something inside of you, that's something that you do and you don't like it. So they're projecting it and you just like, oh, I can't stand them for that. But that's just you. And once you could start liking you and dealing with you, then somebody else is going to like you and want to deal with you. And I think a lot of us shun that away. Like we drink it away, we fuck it away, we party it away. We do the whole cranes in the sky song before we, and that's basically what she was saying in that song. If nobody really understands, that's what she was saying. Like it was so many.
Oh, I just thought about something. I completely forgot to listen to that Summer Walker record you told me to listen to.
Oh, Girls Need Love Too?
Yeah, so if you could provide some actually let me read the lyrics real quick. I don't even need to hear the song. Let me go on Genius real quick. And genius.com. I also want to try this video again. Maybe if I don't mute it. I'll try again. Quick share. Hold on. Wait a minute. Share screen. Let's see. What if I do StreamYard? And then allow. And then. Okay. Can you see?
I can see.
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see if it plays this time.
Nope. Still not
Can you hear it?
I can't hear anything. I can see them talking, but you can't hear anything.
All right. I tried. All right.
All right. So we're going to get back
sharing.
to Walker.
Okay. So bring this back. Okay. Summer Walker. What's the name? Girls Love Too?
Remix with Drake.
Let's see what we got
all right,
here.
Let's see. Play.
Okay.
Can you hear it in the background?
Nah, hold on. Let me turn my volume up. Nah. Okay, I hear it a little bit, but I really want to talk about the lyrics though. So
all right,
let's see. Let's see. Wait. We can talk about because it's not coming in super loud, but we could definitely just talk about the lyrics. So what she say here? Just trying to stay focused. You must think I've got to be joking when I say I don't think I can wait. I just need it now. Better swing my way. I just need some dick. I just need some love. Tired of fucking with these lame N-words, baby. I just need a thug. Won't you be my plug? You could be the one. We could start with a handshake. I'ma need more than a hug. Let's see. Give it to me like you need it. Want you to hear scream, heavy breathing. I don't need a reason, baby. I want it till you can't fight. I give it to you right. I want to be your healing. I can be real good. Please don't get in your feelings. And then here comes certified lover boy Aubrey Graham. You don't really call on me. You should link up. I'll roll good. My love. Anger doesn't want to with me. Nah, no way. Trust me, it's all okay. Trust me, it's all. You just need someone that's calm and patient. Submission, domination, arch back, deep stroke, white wine, weed smoke. That's my best combination. You just need some dick with no complications. You just need some. You just need some late night attention, unconditioned. All that you're missing, my babe. Fucked up. Shouldn't even have to justify. I get it. I'm on your side. Guys get their way all the time. Besides, pleasure not meant for one side. You should just do what's best for your mind. How about I just take my time? You call up and I fall up inside you. Girls need love too. I know. So, why exactly did you want me to check this song out?
Because when we spoke about the non-sexual emotional relationships, this song came to my head because she's saying like, listen, I don't want none of that. I'm tired of that. I tried that. I just want to fuck. I think that's the time that we're living in. Like, I just want to fuck. I don't want the strings attached. But I think people do want the strings attached. I think I think I posted my stories the other day. Like, women just want to be soft. Like, I don't know no woman out here who want to be hard 24 hours a day. No woman wants to
Man,
be
listen,
4 hours a day.
I can run down the list of women I know who have told me out their own mouths, and
Me,
I'm talking about even years before all this, whatever the hell is going on between the sexes. Where I remember, I'm not gonna say her name, but there's a woman who I was interested in. Once upon a time, this was had to be like 2011, 2012, and she said to me, I wish I could sit around and be feminine. She started doing like different little poses and stuff like that. But I can't. And her life dealt her a hand where at least at that time, she didn't feel as if she could be soft. She always had to be on point. She had to be hard. She had to make sure she was handling business, this, that, and that. This is single woman, no child, nothing like that. And, I thinking back on that, I felt bad because I'm like, well, damn, what is needed? What would be needed for her to feel okay being soft, or is it something that one I know is something that she has to work through within herself to get to that point? But what would have to happen externally even for her to feel like, okay,
she has
I
to
can
feel
be this. I could be this feminine woman that I actually would rather be, as opposed to being only feminine presenting.
all right.
You know what I mean?
She wanted and she needed to feel safe. And if she's never felt safe, that softness is not going to happen. I could put on a dress, I could put on 6-inch heels, I could get my hair straightened, I could do all of those things. I could present myself as a woman, how society says a woman should look. But if I gotta be looking around and monitoring my weight, even if I'm with a man, if I still have to feel like I gotta be on point, if I can't relax, I'm not really being soft. I'm not being the flower, whatever type of flowers you like. I'm not being the flower that I'm supposed to be. Flowers are delicate. I don't care. Flowers are delicate. Women are delicate. Not saying that men aren't delicate, but women are delicate. Like, we wanna, I wanna put on a robe and just sashay through my apartment and just know, like, I don't got no real worries in the world because there's somebody else out there making sure that those pieces on the chessboard are being played. Like, I'm being the queen that I'm supposed to be.
I just came up with something. So
Women they don't have that. They don't have that luxury.
Unfortunately, you are absolutely correct. And I also two things. One, this was a third emotionally intimate relationship. We're still friends, but that emotional intimacy is no longer there.
No longer there.
But she and I were still friends. And but anywho, a lot of women gotta move like I'm gonna tell you the type of flower that too many women have to move like. Cactus. A cactus is a flower.
Yes, but you don't even want to touch that shit.
Exactly. And so the needles are the protective element of the meat, that where you get the actual agave from, for the Casamigos that everybody wants to fucking drink. Don't get me started on that. I'm gonna give y'all a list of tequilas that on another day that are much better than Casamigos. But hey, you know what? Actually, no, I'll take that back. If you like Casamigos, fine. It's not my money. I don't care. Drink it. But anyway, yeah, y'all gotta move like cacti out here. Not piney, but needles protecting the soft layer.
And being in the sun and being dried up. And you know what happens when you're in the sun? You get sunburned. And I think so many women have been burned that at this point they would rather have thorns and walls all the way up to the roof. Like, there isn't there isn't a ceiling for the walls that women have. Like it's crazy how many walls a woman would have. Like onions don't got nothing on a woman's wall. They got nothing on a wall that a woman can have. And I know that from what the walls that I've had up. Listen.
Well, if you want to
you have to do self work to get some of them walls.
Yeah.
You have to.
And if you want to be more specific and talk about black women, that's that sunburn analogy. Oh, so, especially for us darker skinned black people.
We don't want to get our hair wet. We don't want to get in water. How many times have you gone to a pool party and women are just like all around looking cute? Like we're presenting being a female, but get in the water, ladies. Get your hair wet.
Well, what I was going to say is, that melanin, especially the darker you are, it makes it a little harder for you to get burned. You got to be out. You got to be out in that element a little long under a special type of sun. You know what I mean? Here's looking at you in the global south. That south of the border, son. Look, first time I got burned was in Jamaica. That's the first time I ever got sunburned.
Florida is for me. I went to Florida, probably 10, 11 years ago, and I came back peeling. And I'm like, I've never had this done to me before. Like, what the hell is happening? And now I'm thinking about it like, that's what happens when you let go of shit. You start peeling and shedding.
Yes.
So that's what you start peeling and shedding.
Yeah, man. But to get back again to the emotional intimacy part, and something you said, earlier and in previous conversations, like that's the real bag, having an emotionally intimate, non-sexual relationship to where essentially what Pun did for Miss Jones was the equivalent to putting her in his will by putting her on his publishing. Yes, but it brings you back to the men always are more quick to do and give up some paper, give up a piece of something to a woman who don't want for nothing, who isn't on them like, yeah, I need da. I mean, unless that is the arrangement y'all have, y'all went into it, you like that. But and I've always known this. You know what I mean? I used to tell friends of mine back in the day, like, oh man, this dude, he ain't giving up no money, this, that, and the third. Like, because that's what you leading with. That's not the relationship, that's not the arrangement that y'all agreed upon.
I'm a be
when y'all got together.
I'm gonna say some things. So I remember I was in school and I remember asking this guy that I was dealing with at the time, I was like, if I needed something, would you be able to help me? And the first thing he thought about was money. That was the first thing. He was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to give you, I ain't going to be able to give you, hundreds of dollars. But I mean, if you want a little, $50, $60. And I'm like, did I ask you for money? One, I have a car sitting outside. So you telling me that if my tire is flat or I needed AAA services, you wouldn't be able to call AAA and have them come pick me up? If I needed a book for class, you wouldn't be able to buy me a book. Like, I never said what I needed assistance with. I just asked the question, but I was never able to fully complete the question because he had already in his mind, like, oh, she about to ask me for some money. And I'm like, listen, money, sometimes, money doesn't add up to certain things that we need as individuals. It doesn't. Time is more precious than money because you could make that money back. You can't get that time back. Mm. Having a conversation to get to know what somebody's heart is more precious than money. Getting to know their likes and their dislikes, how they was raised. Those things are better than money, but he never gave me the chance to finish the question. So when he led with that portion, I already had it in my mind, like, nope, check, he's off the board. Like, I won't take him seriously. Yeah, we may have popped off a couple of more times, but it was a wrap in my head after that, because he already was like, oh, she want my money. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the other things that come with having a relationship. And I think money and sex, people lead with those two things, but that be the shit that you could get anytime. You could get some dick and some pussy, and you could make some money at any time. But the other things in a relationship, that you can't, those things are not sex and money.
So to even have for someone who's in a committed relationship, whether they're married or they haven't reached that point of marriage, but they're in a committed relationship with someone, they decide, I am lacking something emotionally in this relationship, so I'm gonna go over here. I'm putting out the energy that I need an emotional connection that's more fulfilling than what I have at home.
That's why.
And so they have.
That's why I had outside relations with other men, because emotionally I wasn't being taken care of. I think, for me, I'm not talking about anybody else, but for me, when I look back on why I stepped out in my relationships, that was it. Like, and when I brought that to my significant other's attention, it was just brushed off. So I was like, oh, all right, well, he ain't gonna take care of me in that department. I'm gonna get it from somewhere else. Let it be, if I'm talking to this person on the phone, I'm meeting them for food, for drinks, whatever, I'm going to find it somewhere else. I may not have had a sexual relation as Miss Jones and Pun, but I still went and got it from somewhere else. And people don't, and what we need to understand, that's more better than sex and money. People want to know that they have that connection with you.
Mm-hmm.
And most women, when they be like, well, why was he with her? Like, she don't even look like nothing. That's the worst thing you could say. Like, she don't look like shit. He might just have a better emotionally connection with this woman than he has with you. It don't really be having nothing to do with her looks or her body or none of that. Sometimes it's just the connection. But he's in a relationship with you, and he don't want to be like, I don't want to be with her. Like, he don't want to hurt your feelings. But he's still hurting your feelings because he's having an emotional connection with another woman.
And for some people, that is more taboo and more hurtful than just stepping off having sex with different people. You know what I mean? Because some people, like, for many people, sex is just that. Like, I'm just a whole horn dog, and I want to go and experience sex with different people. And that's it. After that, I don't even care. I don't care about your day. Just give me your body. But the reason why I brought that part up too is because this speaks to the ultimate disconnect that we have within ourselves and our intimate partners. Because it's like, dang. And I always say, I think more people are polyamorous than they realize, especially Black people. But I also think that a lot of people, because they are running from something, or they are with people solely for the sake of not being alone, or they are with people for superficial reasons, or they're with people because they need some kind of financial support. Well, that's superficial too. Or some kind of weird codependency or something. Well, that's not being alone. But all of that, it's like, but yet you're not fulfilled. So you're looking for something else elsewhere. You're looking for that thing that's going to fulfill you elsewhere, when, you also have to look within yourself and realize, well, damn, if I had my shit together internally, I would be in a much better relationship. I wouldn't be with this person. I would be with a person that is more of a compliment to me and would be more fulfilling in my life. And that's also what I heard when she said that they were I'm like, he was in a whole marriage. And I'm sure that's why they never took it there physically, because that would be like, okay, this is going to be, I guess at that point they respect, at least and maybe it might have been more so Miss Jones than Pun, but like we respect the sanctity of marriage, and so we're not going to take it there physically. You know what I mean?
A lot of people may say, "Well, she was dealing with a married man." No, she was in an emotional relationship with a married man, and this was something that probably wasn't happening at home for him. He didn't feel comfortable with his wife at the time to share those type of things, and maybe he did share those things with his wife, but she still couldn't relate or couldn't put herself in his shoes. And it was just like, I don't care about that. So we don't know what was happening in his marriages, so we can't speculate on that. But we could just say like he just felt more comfortable with Miss Jones. And Miss Jones probably was like, you know what? I don't want to be involved with a married man like that. Because as she said, that was her love story. So I think had they took it to another level, it would have been disastrous for everybody. It wouldn't have been a good.
It would have got messy.
Yeah, it would have been really, really messy. And I don't think that they would have been able to move forward from that. Like, even if they had tried to have the relationship, and right now he's not with his wife, it still would have been some type of disconnect now, because I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't want it to happen this way. So
it would have been like James St. Patrick and Tasha St. Patrick and Angela Valdez.
And what was her driver's name? Because she started.
Oh shit!
Yeah, she was sleeping with the driver. What's his name? Sean.
Sean, and Ghost. Ghost looked at him like a son.
Hello, that was a perfect example of how shit could get twisted. Because as much as Ghost wanted to be with Angela, it never really clicked how they wanted it to click, how they thought it was gonna click. It never clicked. And I really believe that had Miss Jones and Big Pun, like all of that scandal came out, it would have been just like that. It was just been disastrous for everybody. So yes, that was a good one, Jamal. Yeah. Because that shit popped off. Did they ever pop off? Because I stopped watching after a while. But then
they got together, but it was like,
it was like,
you are a whole criminal dating a fed. How is this gonna work?
Well, Tasha was like, listen, nigga, you gonna get this. Like, she was down for all the shits. But that way.
On the flip side of that, Tasha was not, and she came out, later on when they was on we gonna fake it to get through this shit. She said, I admit I was not supportive of his dreams. She was not supportive of him having a club and really being a nightlife entrepreneur a thing. She was like, we just gonna have this club to clean the money.
Yes, and that's the thing. We don't support each other's dreams. That's why sometimes we step out, because you could tell somebody what your dream is and what you want to accomplish, and somebody might just look at you like whatever. Or you could get with somebody who's like, yo, let's go. We're gonna make this shit happen. We're gonna make this shit pop. And Miss Jones probably was like, we're gonna make this pop. And the wife probably was like, Tasha, like, nigga, what? Nah, like, you just lost 100. No. That is my favorite.
Trying to live, man.
Yes, he was trying to live. And his wife probably was on some, listen, you need to go get this money because we got shit to do. And he probably was, like, nah, I need to relax. I need to chill. And it didn't happen.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know. You know what I mean?
What happens when we are not emotionally connected to the people that we actually are with? We give up on things. We don't believe in them. And at some point, you have to believe in them. I mean, you made a conscious decision to be in a relationship with this person. And I think in 2020, in the pandemic, in the height of the pandemic, a lot of people saw like who was with them and who wasn't with them. A lot of people saw what was like, a lot of people started planning like, as soon as this shit is over, this relationship is going to be over. Like, I am not settling for this whack shit anymore. I know a lot of people who like literally I spoke to was just like, nah, like this shit is over. Like that person had to go. I'm not dealing with this shit. Like, especially in sexual and intimate relationships. Like a lot of people are single right now, figuring out like, what's my next steps? Because that shit right there and the shit that I was doing all these years is not working out. A lot of people be like 2020 was a bad year, but I think 2020 was an overall show out year for a lot of people.
Nah, it was a good year if you took the time to. If it was a good year, one, if you didn't get the virus. Number one, that
Yeah,
was
that was a
like
great year.
shout out everybody who didn't get the virus, everybody who survived the virus if they did get it, because I know quite a few people
Yes.
who got it. Thank
And
goodness none of them passed. I don't know anybody personally who passed from the virus, but
shout out to the
you
people
know,
who divorced people and are still like, pushing through grieving. Because y'all
absolutely.
support too.
But if you took the opportunity to embrace the reset, regardless of how we ended up here, if you took the time, if you took the opportunity to embrace the reset and really look at your life and did not, and you haven't reached into 2021 as a better person in some way, shape, or form, whether that's your health, your in any way, any part of your health, your life, your career, your family, whatever it is, then you missed out, man. You missed out, because that shows that you really have you don't really love yourself as much as you do. And I know that's a value that it's not a value judgment. But that shows you don't love yourself as much as you claim to, or as much as you attempt to present in the world. And I will say, for any of us who did whatever work on ourselves and our lives and our families or whatever, we will now be able to better tell those people who didn't, and we can distance ourselves from those individuals, because it's like, nah, man, I ain't go through whatever I went through this past year and some change for nothing for me to end up dealing with the same type of people I was dealing with before. You still on the same pre-COVID-19 bullshit. Like, what? Come on now. People lost jobs, people lost lives, people lost their loved ones, people lost a lot. But a lot of people, in the midst of losing a lot, they were able to see, like, okay, this is what really matters. This is what I need to get together. This is what I need to work on. You know what I mean? Like, even the people who put on pandemic weight, I bet you even in that they were sitting their asses down, whatever, not doing shit. Something in their brain they got together, something amongst their families or their loved ones. Like, the number of people who were able to repair their strengthen their relationships with their families. You know what I mean? That's incredible.
Or they were to move away from some of their family members, because I feel like a lot. So a lot of us be like, "Oh, 2020 was this, 2020 was that," but like you just said, you either figured out what needed to be taken care of, what needed to be moved, what needed to be cleared, or something happened in your brain where it was just like, all right. And even if you didn't start the process of putting it into action, it was in your head. So that means that the healing process has started on some level. It started on some level. Like, a lot of people was sitting, literally, New York City was sitting down. I was walking the streets of New York City and it wasn't a soul outside.
It was a ghost town.
I was like, wait, I live here?
When in your lifetime living in New York City have you seen the streets that empty?
I was on a bus with the bus driver. It was myself and the bus driver, and I was spraying Lysol. And it was me and the bus driver. So I knew something was wrong. I get on the bus or the train now, it's coming back. But I see the difference in people. People are more like I'm still seeing, the dancers flipping around in the train, but they do that. But I think people are more like kinder to themselves and to others. And if you still like in that angry and mean space, that means that you didn't take the opportunity that was given to us. It wasn't right how it happened, but that was the opportunity that was given to us. Like, people made a lot of money in the pandemic, just sitting their asses at home. Like, I think more people had more money last year than they ever had in their entire life.
Oh yeah. And even with that, people were able to see like, wait a second. Especially like when it comes to this whole debate about people not wanting to go back to work because they making more money on unemployment than they are working. And it's like, it's not about that. While yes, a lot of people are, but it's giving them the opportunity to see like, wait, I've been selling myself short. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, what they do, they upskilled. People switch careers. People took an online course. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. But yeah, people upskill. People took online courses. People went back to school. People switched careers. They did all these different things because they're like, I like knowing, having the feeling of, okay, I make enough money now to pay my bills and still have enough money to do something that I enjoy with my life, or to save money and pay this debt down, or whatever the case may be. So people left. Like, I'm not going back to a job where I got to work myself and still not be able to pay my bills and do this and do that and try to figure out, well, I want to do better, but when am I going to find the time or the money to go back to school or take this class or whatever, you know what I mean? And so, again, all of this to say, and even I want to bring up people being superficial. If you're still on that superficial shit, now that the world is reopening and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, it's all about, seeing, be seen, and what this person got, how they look, this, that, and the third. Nah, man, like, I can see through that, and anybody that is right within themselves can see through that too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying don't look good, because I like to look good, but I don't lead with that.
No,
I don't lead with that. You know what I mean? Like, and even you can tell on my Instagram, very rarely do I even post pictures of myself. You know what I mean? And not because I don't like the way I look, but it's like, y'all know how I look. And if you want to know how I look, you can look at the pictures, the few pictures that you will see of me on my Instagram. And two, I think what I see in the world is more interesting than just constantly posting people like, hey, look at me here, there, everywhere, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? And that's me. No diss to anybody that does that, because I know there's people making money from that. But for me, I don't feel the need to do that. You know what I mean? Because I think who I am on the inside is more interesting than constantly looking at how I look. You know what I mean? I think the things that I see in the world and the people that I meet and hearing about them, learn about them, and the experiences that I have are more interesting. And I want to share that with people. And I want people to want to experience it, whatever it is. I think I'm into enough things out here that is something for everybody. Like, that's why I love New York City, because no matter what you're into, you can find it there. And
find it here. You're gonna find.
I think my interests are like New York City or some super cosmopolitan city where I'm into a little bit of everything enough where, like, look, and that's how I can tap into different people, and that's what moves me. But that was a tangent. That was an aside, But what were you gonna say?
Back to our emotional relationships. I think at one point in your life, you should give yourself that. And even if you do start having sex with this person, give yourself some time before you actually have sex with them. I ain't saying be on your whole Steve Harvey shit. I'm not saying that. I'm not promoting Steve Harvey right now. I'm sorry. I'm just not. But give yourself a chance to actually know the person. Because I'm going to be honest, a lot of people, y'all don't even be liking the people that y'all with. And y'all be like, oh, but I love him or I love her. Nah, like the person. Because the likes are going to, what we talk about, that fluffy shit that people be thinking.
Oh, the warm, fuzzy feelings.
That shit fades away. And that shit can fade away so fast. Like, so fast. But when you like a person and you know who they are genuinely, then I think that I know it could work. Not think, I actually know it could work. But when you just on this fuzzy high, like the lust, the honeymoon, that's why it's called the honeymoon phase. It don't last forever. It's the honeymoon. Some people are on it for a year or two. Some people are on it for a month, 3 months. But it's called the honeymoon stage for a reason. Like, we really need to start getting to know people before we be on some, oh, I love them. Because I would rather be in like and to trust somebody than to be in love with them.
Yeah.
In and out of love. Or you fall in and out of love with the people that you actually grew up with. So just imagine if you want to be with somebody and spend time with them. Listen, when you can spend time with somebody, that's a lot. And a lot of y'all can't spend time with people. It's just like, nah, like I'm gonna link up with them when I link up with them. I would rather be in light and to know that I'm spending time with a valuable person. Like I value them and they value me. And we not always in our phone. We like communicating with each other. We sitting down with each other. We being in silence with each other. Y'all may think that shit is whack, but on some real shit, that's the real bag, and that's really the bag right there. And I'm gonna keep saying it. That's the real bag, and that's why Miss Jones is where she is right now, because somebody put her in that situation. He trusted her, and she trusted him. She may not have said what they talked about on her end, but she trusted him also.
Well, I'm gonna end with this and saying, for everybody that, you know, are big on hashtag relationship goals, posts on Instagram, think about the importance of liking somebody the next time y'all like one of them pictures of an older couple that's been together for 30, 40, 50 years.
Because some of them people don't like it.
And some of them don't like each other, and some of them do like each other. But just imagine how much is necessary to get to that point. Because you can't stay in the honeymoon phase for 30, 40, 50 years.
No.
It's unrealistic and it doesn't happen. And any of those couples will tell you, like, sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. And everybody has their reasons for staying together that long. But just know, we're in a brand new day where people have to like each other now. Brothers, you know, women have to like us now. Because they don't really need us for nothing else. In terms of survival.
One more thing.
Okay.
Stop comparing your relationship to other people's relationships. Every relationship is different. Because what I do in my relationship, Geronimo may not do in his relationship. We have to stop comparing. Literally stop comparing. All right, I'm done.
No, it's cool. But yeah, like I said, brothers, you know, we got to be likable. You know what I mean? And that's to be something that you want. Like,
women got to be likable too. Women have to be
absolutely. You know what I mean? But I put that out there with the men first because so many of us still, and so many people within society still carry the whole, you know, this warped and super idealized concept of protecting and providing as a man. And it's like, provision.
That's another hour.
I know. But provision shouldn't be limited to finance. You know what I mean? Provision should be broadened to a whole host of things that complement what your partner needs. So I'm gonna leave that there. But yes, men and women have to be likable. Should want to be liked before you even get to the love. Because if you love somebody before you like them, you know, it's often like, well, what's going on with you? Something's missing.
Not going to work at all. It will not work. I don't care who you are. It's not gonna work. You could talk about the finances. You could talk about you not being able to help with the kids and all. If you don't like the person, you're not gonna be able to be around them for too long, and you ain't gonna be able to stay with nobody for all those years. Not in today's world. Nah, it's not happening.
Yeah, not in 2021.
But 2020, it's not happening.
Not in the 21st century where we are faced with so many options and instant gratification. You know, so there's that. So I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Robyn, tell the people where they can find you again, even though it says it right there, but tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Earthy Hood Joint. Oh, and I'm about to start a Twitter. So I'm going to see if I could keep my same handle as Earthy Hood Joint on Twitter, but the next time I'll definitely have it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's cool. You know, you're gonna be dropping the knowledge on Twitter too?
Yes, I'm going to be dropping. I'm going to let my fingers do the talking.
I mean, Twitter is a scary place. It's a cesspool. It's rough.
I know.
I've had multiple.
But I'm gonna go back. But I'm gonna try to get this handle, not that handle.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying, you know, Twitter is in a complete state of de-evolution and chaos.
More than
You know,
140
it is
characters
what it
at this
is.
point.
What you say?
More than 140 characters at this point.
Oh yeah, it's 280
See, that's too much.
characters now.
That's too much for people.
280 characters.
That's just too much because now people gonna tell their whole life stories. It's just too much.
All right, I'm gonna leave it there. So, yeah, that's it. So, thank y'all again for tuning in. Catch y'all on the next episode of Chaos and Culture.
Have a good one.
Peace.